I have been using a credit score company called ClearScore for a couple of years now. I started to use them just to keep an eye on things, to make sure that there wasn't anything on my credit report that was bad, that I didn't know about, that shouldn't be there. I don't have a great credit score, and it's not because I'm in any debt. It's because I have a low, irregular monthly income. I'm self-employed. A lot of the bills that well, not a lot of the bills, but the main bill that I pay every month, which is my rent, doesn't count on my credit score. So even though I've been paying my rent regularly without fail for 6 years now, it doesn't count, which is a real pain because it's my major bill. I have never ever not paid a bill on time. But I really struggle to get credit, and I don't mean taking out loans. I don't mean, racking up loads of credit card debt. I just mean being able to have, say, one credit card that allows me to just seesaw my payments every month. So I joined ClearScore, and every so often they will offer you credit cards, or there's always like 4 or 5 credit cards on offer to me, and I was waiting for the right one to come up, because sometimes you'll get credit cards which are pre-approved, which means you're guaranteed to get them when you do the application process, and that doesn't happen very often for me. So I had one come up a couple of years ago with a card, or I think it was a company or a card. It's called Marbles, and I started off with actually it was a pretty good credit rate, but it was still paying the interest rate. So I just used that every month just to seesaw my money, so that I can keep all my money in my savings accounts as long as possible, and then I pay a chunk in one go. And I've been doing that for a couple of years on that card, and that works really well. I pay it off every month, no problem, and they keep increasing my credit limit, so I've got about £2,500 there now, which I would never use in a month because paying it back would be a nightmare. But it's good for emergencies. So if something happened and I had to pay out a large chunk of money in one go, maybe my washing machine goes, or I have an emergency repair on my car, I know that money is there as an emergency, and I can still pay it back every month. So that's been working really well. And then this week, I have finally had an offer on a credit card, which was really my goal. So what I really wanted was a credit card that would give me a 0% interest introductory amount, like a period. Because what I'd like to be able to do is to start getting those credit cards with 0%, say 0% for 6 months, 0% for a year, use those up to whatever the credit limits are. That means I can leave all that money that would have been spent on things in my savings account, and I can accrue more interest that way. And then once the 0% offer ends, I just stop using the card, and I either leave the card dormant or I get rid of it. I've heard that it's better to leave it dormant than close it, because it can really affect your credit score. But I need to look into that a bit more. So this week I've had an offer from John Lewis. It's a John Lewis card, and it's offering £350 credit limit, and it's 0% interest for 6 months. So that means I can spend up to £350 for 6 months and not have to pay it back. And then at the end of that 6 months, pay the whole thing back, and that card is gone. This will be really useful for me because I don't spend an awful lot of money. So that means that for the next 6 months, I can pay for my groceries if I'm spending any actual money, and also pay for groceries where I'm getting cash back, because then I can not only save that, but the cash back can also go into my savings accounts. So that's going to add to my interest. I can also use it for petrol for my car, so when I'm travelling about. I've got a few dentist appointments coming up between now and October, so I can put those on there. And I've already looked at my spending, and it doesn't look like within that 6 months I'm likely to hit that 350 limit. But that means, so all my petrol, my groceries, and my dental appointments, I literally don't have to pay for 6 months. And all that money that would have been spent, I can leave in my savings account and it can accrue interest. So that's how I want to make it work. And hopefully, now that I've now got one of these cards, I will start to get others. To have credit cards, you've got to be good with credit. There's no point in having them if you're going to keep spending up to the limit, if you're going to accrue fees, if you're not going to pay them back every month. I am really strict about credit cards. They get paid off every month. There's a fee. If it's a 0% interest, they get paid off when they reach that limit so that I don't accrue any fees. And this is not only a good way perhaps to build a credit score limit, which mine's pretty good now, although it's not going to get me far because I still have a very low income and I'm still self-employed, and my major bill, which is rent, still doesn't count towards my affordability score. But at least it's allowing me to hang on to money in my savings accounts for longer, and because I'm being responsible with it, it's never going to get me into problems. So if that's something that you're able to do, particularly if you have a small amount of money and maybe you have a high interest savings account, there are some great easy access accounts at the moment. Tandem has a rate, I think it's about $3.50 or something, and every penny counts. Whatever savings rate you can get, as long as you're putting money in there and leaving that, it's accruing interest, and every penny is money back to you that you don't have to earn another way. So this is really a tip for people who want to balance their ins and their outs and make money on the savings. If you can get these cards that have 0% interest for a set period, my dream would be able to get one for a year. I haven't seen any of those for quite a while. I think because of the cost of living crisis, a lot of banks and a lot of credit card companies withdrew all these offers, but they're starting to come back in now. I've started to notice I'm getting more offers, and this has been the first one. So because it was pre-approved, I did the application this morning, and in about 10 minutes it's all done and my new card and PIN are on their way. So by the end of the month I'm going to be not spending any money for the next 6 months, because all my major bills are paid already for the year. All my insurances are paid, my car tax, everything else is paid for. I'm just on week to week bills, which are really small for me. I don't spend much on petrol. Literally my only petrol spend is going down to my parents, so I'm only paying out for petrol every quarter. My grocery bills are really tiny now, just like I might spend £15 and some of that will be cash back anyway. So I don't have the dental bills are the big ones, but again, it's not breaking the bank. They're still just standard appointments. They don't come with any major issues. So it just enables me just to seesaw money a bit, and then I'll get to October, the end of October, and that 0% will go. I'll pay the card off, not use it again. Simple.